The Debt by Patkowski. Fade in. Superimpose. Lifetime 1, the Bronkowski Estate, Poland, 1939. Interior bathroom, night. Aniela Bronkowska, 24, Polish, single, exceptionally beautiful, warm brown hair, bright blue eyes, wealthy, stands in front of the mirror over the bathroom sink, staring back at her own reflection, wet after a shower. Strands of her long, wet hair cascade around her face. Her face is weary and exhausted. Her eyes are red and tired. Obviously, she's been crying, a towel wrapped around her slender but shapely body. Aniela wipes her face with a smaller towel, picks up a comb and runs it through her wet hair, combing it back from her face. Her skin is flawless. Close up, Aniela's eye. A haunted vulnerability, but eerily calm, she blinks slowly in exhaustion. She is in a dissociated state of mind. There is a vacancy in her eyes. Back to scene. Carefully and unhurried, she picks up an ornate vintage straight razor with an ivory handle. Its shiny, polished blade glistens. She begins to sharpen it, dragging the blade backwards and forwards across a leather strap attached to the towel rail, in a calm, rhythmical, graceful fashion. We hear the razor gliding back and forth against the leather. Her breathing is calm and quiet as she moves the razor against the alabaster skin of her left forearm. She cuts lines into her arm, and then diagonally she crosses them. Bloody diamond shapes appear against her flawless skin. She watches the blood turn into droplets as they run down her arm. The relief that crosses her face is so powerful it's like she has been drugged, a calm high. Then the release of silent tears. She drops the razor in the sink and picks up a damp washcloth. And after a few moments, transfixed by watching her own blood, she goes about gently cleaning her self-inflicted wound. The bleeding slows to a stop. She opens up the medicine cabinet behind the mirror. She reaches in and takes out a canister of salve, opens the canister, and as she continues to silently cry, applies the salve to the fresh wound. She then takes a bandage out of the cupboard and wraps it up. She winces in pain, bringing her back to reality and the present moment, no longer in a dissociated state of mind. A smile tugs at her lips for a brief moment. Aniela dries herself off and gets ready for bed, careful to hide the bandage under her nightdress, and then wraps herself up in her dressing gown. She feels alive, and you can see it in her eyes. Aniela picks up the razor, rinses off the blood, dries it off, and puts it, along with the leather strap, back in the cupboard. Interior, Aniela's bedroom, early hours of the morning. Aniela is sleeping when her mother, Sarafina Bronkowska, 47, Polish, beautiful, strong, abrupt, the matriarch of the family, bursts into the room. She is glamorous even in her dressing gown. Immediately, Aniela wakes up and sits up in bed. Both speak in Polish, subtitled in English.
The Nazis?
Her mother shakes her head no.
Not yet. They're coming soon, so I want you to gather everything of value. The jewelry, the family crest plates, the silverware, the rare collectibles in the display case, but only the really expensive ones, you know?
Aniela rubs her eyes and nods her head and checks the clock.
Mama, it's 3 in the morning. You want me to do this now?
Serafina gets right up in her daughter's face and is very stern and hisses at her.
War is on our doorstep, you silly girl.
Stubbornly, Aniela pushes her mother's face back, butting her mother's forehead with her own.
I know that.
I fear the Nazis will eventually take this estate. Mark my words, and I will be damned if I let them take our valuables too. You and I are going to bury them, now.
Aniela jumps out of bed and puts her dressing gown and shoes on.
God willing, we survive, or some of us survive. We'll be able to come back, dig it up, and sell it to reestablish this estate, or feed ourselves for a while at least. If the plan your father and I have goes to hell.
Aniela nods and hurries as she brushes her hair and ties it back.
Plan?
Serafina hands her a handful of pillowcases.
Go to your dressing room. Take only the very expensive jewels. Leave the boxes and the cheaper things and put them in the pillowcases. I've already put mine and your father's jewels in the large trunk downstairs. Then take them and meet me downstairs to put them in the trunk. Try not to wake the household.
What plan?
Serafina shoos her to get moving, Aniela nods and gets to work, heading into her dressing room. Interior, Aniela's dressing room, early hours of the morning. Aniela enters with empty pillowcases in her hand and goes to her drawers, pulls them open and empties the boxes of her expensive jewels into 3 pillowcases, and replaces the boxes, closes the drawers, and exits. Interior, stairway down to foyer, early hours of the morning. A very large trunk is at the bottom of the stairs, and its lid is open. Aniela walks down the stairs carrying pillowcases full of jewels. She puts them in the trunk. Serafina enters with the family crest plates. They look at each other.
Wrap these in one of the towels.
She points to a stack of old, clean towels. Aniela quickly takes a towel and carefully wraps the family crest plates into the towel and places it neatly in the trunk. Serafina exits and then returns a short time later with a stack of cash. Aniela is a little taken aback by how big the stack of cash is. Serafina hands it to her. She reluctantly takes it.
Wrap that in a towel as well.
Aniela wraps it and places it in the trunk. Serafina goes over to the display cabinet in the foyer and takes out 2 large, beautiful figurines. She hands one to Aniela, and in silence they both carefully wrap them up in a couple of towels and place them in the trunk. They both look at the wrapped contents one last time. Then Serafina closes the trunk and locks it, and shows her 2 keys. She puts one in her pocket. She puts the other key in a tin box and places it in her other pocket.
We're going to bury the trunk, then the key. If something happens, you're to tell whoever is left where the trunk and key are buried, and I will do the same. But only when it is a life or death situation. I will keep this key. Pick up that end and let's go. It's going to be a long haul. Your father has no idea about this, and you're not to tell him, unless it's life or death.
Aniela and Serafina pick up the handles of the trunk at either end, and with Serafina leading the way, inch by inch, they slowly walk out of the house. Exterior, family estate forest, early morning. The sun is barely rising as they come to a very large oak tree in a group of pine trees. They put the trunk down and rest. Serafina takes out a knife and carves a love heart in the tree with her and her husband's initials.
This way, if the Nazis come across this, they will think it's just young lovers. But only you and I know this marks the way.
Serafina points in the direction of the large pond in the distance. They pick up the trunk and continue to inch their way to another large oak tree by the pond.
Mama, when will the Nazis come?
It could be a week, a month. I don't know for sure. But my gut says very soon. My father told me stories of war, and I want to be prepared as much as I can. If your father and I can't pull our plan off, we're in for hell. We're allowing them to use the estate as a base. It's our best chance of survival.
Aniela drops her end of the trunk. It clunks loudly.
What? So we're traitors now too?
Serafina sets down her end.
Your father and I both agree. It's our best chance to survive. We cooperate. Now pick up the trunk and keep walking.
They both pick up the trunk.
Well, we all know what happened when Daddy cooperated to become a partner in this estate, then eventually the owner.
Serafina remains silent. They reach the large oak tree, and 2 shovels are there, where a deep hole is gaping at them in the half-light. They drop the trunk in as carefully as they can, and each take a shovel and start to fill the hole and bury the trunk.
God willing, we've done the right thing.
Aniela silently shovels dirt, and both women get hot and sweaty shoveling dirt. They remove their dressing gowns. After a little while, blood has seeped through Aniela's sleeve. Serafina catches sight of it just as they are finishing and stomping the earth on top of the filled hole.
What's this? Are you hurt?
She roughly grabs Aniela's arm with ownership. Aniela tries to pull away, but to no avail. Serafina pulls the arm of the nightdress up and pulls away the bandage and sees the cuts.
Aniela,
She demands.
It's nothing.
who did this?
Aniela won't look her mother in the eye. She looks at the ground and gathers courage, then announces,
I did.
she says, and meets her mother's gaze defiantly.
Is your life worth living?
Aniela stares at her mother and tears well in her eyes.
You better work that out quick, my girl, because the Nazis will make that decision for you.
She grabs her daughter's arm in anger.
What could possibly possess you to do this to yourself?
Aniela snatches her arm from her mother's grasp.
What do you think? It's the deal you made with the devil of a brother-in-law for this estate, remember? We're rich because of it. You didn't believe him until he confessed on his deathbed, begging for forgiveness.
Do you want to kill yourself?
Aniela nods as the tears stop. She is contained rage.
Yes. I can't live with the memories, the nightmares, the scars anymore. Something takes over and I cut myself to feel alive again.
Her mother abruptly hugs her tight.
My darling, I would kill him if he was not already dead.
It's all too late for that.
God help us all with what's coming. You have to find a way to want to live.
Aniela does not hug her mother back. It's like her mother is holding on to a lifeless rag doll.
I'm already dead inside.